The scrapyard's secret. The vast expanse of Earth's orbital scrapyards stretched out before Maya Chen's eyes, a graveyard of metal and dreams. Countless derelict ships, remnants of humanity's early space age, floated silently in the void. To most, it was a junkyard. To Maya, it was a goldmine of possibility. She maneuvered her compact maintenance pod between the hulks, her expert touch guiding the craft with precision. A brilliant engineer with a knack for seeing potential where others saw only trash, Maya had chosen this posting when others scoffed. The scrapyard was quiet, away from the bustle of the Mars colonies or the gleaming orbital habitats. Here, she could work in peace, salvaging and repurposing, giving new life to forgotten technologies. As her pod approached a particularly ancient vessel, its hull pockmarked with micrometeorite impacts, Maya's sensors began to chirp insistently. She frowned, adjusting the readings. There was something odd about this ship, something that didn't match any known human designs. "Control, this is Chen." She radioed back to the small station that oversaw the scrapyard. "I'm picking up some unusual readings from Sector 17B, requesting permission to dock and investigate." There was a pause before the response came. "Acknowledged, Chen. But make it quick. You're due back for shift change in an hour." Maya guided her pod to the old ship's airlock, the docking clamps engaging with a muffled thunk. She double-checked her suit seals before cycling the airlock. As the inner door slid open, she switched on her helmet lights, illuminating a corridor that hadn't seen life in decades. The air was stale, tinged with the scent of old metal and decaying plastics. Maya moved cautiously, her mag boots clinking against the deck. The ship's design was strange, with odd angles and unexplained protrusions. But it was what lay at the heart of the vessel that made Maya's breath catch in her throat. In what must have been the engine room, she found technology that defied explanation. Crystalline structures pulsed with a faint, otherworldly light. Conduits of an unknown alloy snaked through the chamber, connecting to devices that seemed to defy the laws of physics as humanity understood them. "This isn't ours," Maya whispered to herself, her mind racing. "This was never ours." With trembling hands, she began to document her findings, taking samples where she could. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just advanced technology, it was alien, and it had been hiding here, in plain sight, for who knew how long. As Maya worked, a priority alert blared through her comms. "All personnel, return to station immediately." Repeat, "All personnel, return to station." Maya hesitated, looking at the alien engine core. She couldn't leave this discovery. Not now. Making the split-second decision, she detached a small component from the alien device and stowed it in her sample kit. The journey back to the control station was tense, with Maya's mind whirling with possibilities. As she docked, she saw that every screen in the station was tuned to the same emergency broadcast. A grim-faced admiral addressed the camera, his words chilling Maya to the bone. "Citizens of Earth and her colonies, it is my solemn duty to inform you that we are under attack. Less than an hour ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected a large fleet of unknown origin entering the solar system. All attempts at communication have failed. These ships have already destroyed our outposts on Pluto and Charon. Their trajectory and speed suggest they will reach Earth in less than 72 hours. Maya's grip tightened on her sample kit. The timing couldn't be coincidence. Somehow, she knew the alien ship she'd found and this invasion were connected. As panic began to spread through the station, Maya sought out her supervisor, Dr. Emerson. The older woman was coordinating evacuation efforts, her usually calm demeanor strained. "Dr. Emerson, I need to speak with you. It's urgent," Maya insisted. Emerson glanced at her, annoyed. "Chen, we're in the middle of an evacuation. Whatever it is can wait." Maya shook her head vehemently. "No, it can't. I found something out there. Something that might help us against these invaders." Emerson's eyes narrowed, but she nodded curtly and led Maya to a quiet corner. As Maya recounted her discovery and produced the alien component, Emerson's expression shifted from skepticism to astonishment. "My God," she breathed, examining the device. "This changes everything. We need to get this to Earth Defense Command immediately." What followed was a whirlwind of activity. Within hours, Maya found herself on a high-speed shuttle bound for Earth, the precious alien technology secured in a reinforced case. As the blue marble of humanity's homeworld grew larger in the view screen, Maya couldn't shake a feeling of both dread and hope. The next days were a blur of debriefings, analysis, and frantic reverse engineering efforts. Maya worked alongside the brightest minds on the planet, pushing herself to the brink of exhaustion. The alien technology was like nothing they'd ever seen, operating on principles that seemed to border on magic. But time was not on their side. Reports from the outer system grew increasingly dire. The alien fleet, now dubbed the Swarm due to its overwhelming numbers, had annihilated the Jovian defense platforms. Grainy footage showed sleek, predatory ships that moved with impossible speed and precision. In a secure underground facility, Maya stood before a group of grim-faced military and scientific leaders. Behind her, a holographic display showed the schematics of Earth's first hybrid warship, a fusion of human engineering and the alien technology she'd discovered. "The Phoenix isn't pretty," Maya explained, gesturing to the ungainly design. "We've essentially grafted the alien tech onto one of our existing destroyer hulls. But if our simulations are correct, it should be able to go toe-to-toe with the Swarm ships." Admiral Chen, no relation to Maya, leaned forward, his weathered face etched with concern. "How many of these hybrid ships can we have ready before the Swarm reaches Earth orbit?" Maya exchanged a glance with Dr. Emerson before answering. "Maybe a dozen, sir. We're cannibalizing every scrap of alien tech we found in the scrapyard, but there's only so much to go around." The room erupted in murmurs. A dozen ships against a fleet that had already decimated humanity's outer defenses seemed like a suicide mission. "It'll have to be enough," the Admiral declared, silencing the room. "We'll position the hybrid fleet as our last line of defense. If they fail, God help us all." As the meeting adjourned, Maya felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. In the span of a few days, she'd gone from an obscure engineer in a forgotten scrapyard to one of humanity's last hopes for survival. Dr. Emerson approached, placing a comforting hand on Maya's shoulder. "You've done more than anyone could have asked, Chen. Now get some rest. Tomorrow, we take the fight to the stars." Maya nodded, but as she left the facility and looked up at the night sky, she knew sleep would not come easily. Somewhere up there, an alien armada was bearing down on her homeworld, and the technology she'd discovered might be the only thing standing between humanity and extinction. As she watched, a streak of light crossed the sky, a shooting star, or perhaps a distant explosion. Maya clenched her fists, a mixture of fear and determination welling up inside her. "Come on, then," she whispered to the uncaring cosmos. "We're ready for you." Ingenuity under pressure. The sky above Earth blazed with the fury of war. Streaks of plasma and bursts of nuclear fire painted a terrifying tableau against the backdrop of stars. Humanity's conventional forces fought with desperate valor, but they were hopelessly outmatched by the Swarm's superior technology and numbers. In low Earth orbit, Maya Chen watched the battle unfold from the bridge of the Phoenix, Earth's first hybrid warship. The vessel hummed with power, alien technology grafted onto human engineering in a marriage of desperation and innovation. "This is it, people," Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "You are our last line of defense. May God be with us all." Maya exchanged glances with Captain Rodriguez, the Phoenix's commanding officer. The weight of humanity's fate pressed down on them all. "Swarm vessels approaching," the tactical officer announced, her voice tight with tension. 5. No, 7 ships on an attack vector. Captain Rodriguez straightened in his chair, weapons hot. "Let's show these bastards what we can do." The Phoenix surged forward, its alien-enhanced engines propelling it with a speed and agility that defied its bulky appearance. As they closed with the swarm ships, Maya's hands flew over her console, fine-tuning the hybrid systems on the fly. The first exchange of fire was brief but intense. Swarm energy beams lanced out, only to be absorbed by the Phoenix's reverse-engineered shields. In return, the hybrid ship launched a salvo of missiles, their warheads augmented by the alien tech. Two swarm vessels erupted in silent explosions. A cheer went up on the bridge, but Maya remained focused. Rerouting power to forward batteries, she called out. We've got more incoming. The battle raged on, a deadly dance of advanced technology and human determination. The Phoenix took hits, its hull groaning under the assault, but it gave as good as it got. One by one, the swarm ships fell to its unconventional arsenal. As the last enemy vessel in their sector disintegrated, Captain Rodriguez turned to Maya with a grim smile. I don't know what kind of magic you worked with that alien tech, Chen, but it's saving our asses out here. Maya nodded, allowing herself a moment of pride, but the reprieve was short-lived. New alerts blared across the bridge as fresh waves of swarm ships entered the fray. We can't keep this up forever, Maya muttered, her mind racing. She pulled up the schematics of the alien technology, searching for any advantage they might have missed. As she pored over the data, a crazy idea began to form. Captain, she said, her voice urgent, I think I know how we can turn the tide, but it's risky. Rodriguez didn't hesitate. At this point, Chen, I'm all ears. Maya quickly outlined her plan. By reconfiguring the alien power core, they could generate a massive electromagnetic pulse. It would likely fry most of the Phoenix's systems, but if her calculations were correct, it would also disable the swarm ships within a large radius. Do it, Rodriguez ordered, his jaw set. The next few minutes were a blur of frantic activity. Maya's fingers flew over her console, making adjustments and overrides that would have given any safety engineer a heart attack. As the swarm closed in around them, she took a deep breath and initiated the sequence. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a wave of invisible energy burst forth from the Phoenix. The bridge lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Through the viewports, Maya watched in awe as swarm ships began to drift aimlessly, their systems overloaded by the pulse. As emergency power came online, the bridge erupted in cheers. They had done it. The sector was clear of active swarm vessels. But the victory was bittersweet. The Phoenix floated dead in space, most of its systems fried beyond repair. And this was just one battle in a much larger war. Comms are back online, the communications officer reported. We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered to life in the center of the bridge. Despite the static, the excitement in his voice was clear. Phoenix, your tactic worked beyond our wildest expectations. The EMP took out swarm ships across half the planet. We're turning the tide. A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. But Maya's mind was already racing ahead. Admiral, she said, stepping forward, we need to strike while they're vulnerable. If we can replicate this tactic with the other hybrid ships. The Admiral nodded, cutting her off. Already on it, Chen. I'm dispatching rescue ships to retrieve you and your data. We're going to need that brilliant mind of yours to coordinate our counterattack. As the transmission ended, Maya felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had won a critical victory, but the war was far from over. She looked around at the battered bridge of the Phoenix, at the tired but determined faces of the crew. These were the people she was fighting for, not just the abstract concept of humanity, but the individuals who had come together in Earth's darkest hour. Captain Rodriguez approached, extending his hand. You did it, Chen. You gave us a fighting chance. Maya shook her head as she clasped his hand. We did it, Captain. All of us. And we're just getting started. As rescue ships approached to tow the crippled Phoenix back to Earth, Maya's mind was already working on improvements to the hybrid technology. The swarm had underestimated human ingenuity and adaptability. It was a mistake they would soon regret. Looking out at the star-studded blackness of space, Maya allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, but they had not broken. Instead, they had found strength in desperation, unity in adversity. And now, armed with salvaged alien tech and indomitable human spirit, they were ready to take the fight to the enemy. The scrapyard, once a graveyard of forgotten dreams, had become the birthplace of humanity's resurgence. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, Maya knew that the real battle was just beginning. But for the first time since the invasion began, she dared to hope. Hope for victory. Hope for survival. Hope for a future among the stars that humanity would forge with their own hands. The Phoenix might be battered, but like its mythical namesake, humanity would rise from the ashes, and Maya Chen would be there, at the forefront of a revolution that would change the course of human history forever. The turning tide. The war room at Earth Defense Command buzzed with activity. Holographic displays showed the ongoing battles across the solar system, a dance of light and shadow that represented the struggle for humanity's survival. At the center of it all stood Maya Chen, her eyes darting between screens as she coordinated the deployment of Earth's growing hybrid fleet. In the weeks since the Phoenix's pivotal victory, humanity had thrown itself into the production of hybrid ships with a fervor bordering on religious zeal. Scrapyards across the planet and throughout near-Earth space had been transformed into bustling shipyards. The alien technology, once a closely guarded secret, was now the cornerstone of Earth's defense strategy. Admiral Chen entered the room, his presence immediately commanding attention. "Status report," he barked, moving to stand beside Maya. Maya gestured to the main display. "We've pushed the swarm back past the lunar orbit, sir. The Mars Defense Force is holding their own, and we've even managed to retake the Jovian moons." The Admiral nodded, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "And the new ships? The Artemis and the Orion are ready for deployment," Maya replied, bringing up the schematics of two sleek vessels. Unlike the cobbled-together appearance of the Phoenix, these ships were purpose-built to integrate the alien technology. They're faster, more powerful, and more efficient than anything we've fielded so far. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the command center. A junior officer called out, "Massive swarm fleet detected entering the inner solar system. They're on a direct course for Earth." The room erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to battle stations. Admiral Chen's face hardened. "Looks like we'll be testing those new ships sooner than we thought. Chen, you're with me." Hours later, Maya found herself on the bridge of the Artemis, racing towards what promised to be the largest confrontation of the war so far. The ship hummed with power, alien crystals pulsing in harmony with human technology. As they approached the battlefield, the vastness of the swarm Armada became apparent. Thousands of alien ships filled the void, their biomechanical forms a stark contrast to the clean lines of Earth's vessels. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen." The comms crackled to life. "You know what's at stake. Fight smart, fight hard, and may fortune favor the bold." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. The hybrid fleet, though outnumbered, moved with a grace and power that caught the swarm off guard. Ships danced through the void, energy weapons flashing and missiles streaking across the star-filled backdrop. Maya's fingers flew across her console, making split-second adjustments to the Artemis's systems. The alien technology responded to her touch almost instinctively, as if it had been waiting for human hands to unleash its full potential. Multiple swarm ships approaching on Vector 227. The tactical officer shouted. "I see them," Maya responded, her voice calm despite the chaos around her. She initiated a series of complex maneuvers, the Artemis spinning and weaving through enemy fire with impossible agility. A massive explosion rocked the ship. "Port shields down to 30%. Someone called out. Maya gritted her teeth, rerouting power and sealing off damaged sections. "Not today," she muttered, bringing the Artemis around for another attack run. As the battle raged on, something unexpected began to happen. The swarm's once perfect coordination started to falter. Their formations became erratic, their attacks less precise. "They're confused," Maya realized aloud. "Our hybrid tech, it's interfering with their hive mind somehow." Admiral Chen's voice came over the comms. "All ships, press the advantage. Don't let up." The tide of battle shifted dramatically. Earth's fleet, emboldened by their unexpected advantage, tore into the disorganized swarm with renewed vigor. Ship after alien ship fell to the combined might of human determination and salvage technology. Hours passed in a blur of tactical displays and weapon discharges. When the last swarm ship in the sector finally fell silent, a stunned hush fell over the bridge of the Artemis. Did we just win?" someone asked in disbelief. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge, his usually stoic face breaking into a wide grin. "Not just a victory, people. A rout. The swarm is in full retreat across all fronts." A cheer went up, the tension of battle giving way to jubilant celebration. Maya leaned back in her chair, exhaustion and elation warring within her. They had done it. They had faced the full might of the swarm and emerged victorious. As the fleet regrouped and began the journey back to Earth, Maya found herself drawn to the observation deck. The blue marble of humanity's homeworld hung in the void, battered but unbroken. Around it, the remains of the battle drifted silently, a field of debris that represented both terrible loss and hard-won triumph. Admiral Chen joined her, his reflection appearing in the reinforced glass. "You should be proud, Chen. Your work with the alien tech turned the tide of this war." Maya shook her head. "It wasn't just me, sir. It was all of us. Every engineer who worked through sleepless nights, every soldier who faced down the swarm. We did this together." The Admiral nodded, a hint of paternal pride in his eyes. "True enough. But every movement needs a spark, and you provided that spark." He turned to face her fully. "Which is why I'm here. We're not just pushing the swarm back anymore. We're taking the fight to them. And I want you to lead the charge." Maya's eyes widened. "Sir, we're assembling a task force to pursue the swarm, to find their homeworld, and end this threat once and for all. I can't think of anyone better suited to lead the scientific team." For a moment, Maya was speechless. The implications were staggering. Not just defending Earth, but striking out into the unknown, possibly making first contact with other alien races. Finally, she nodded. "I'd be honored, sir." As the Admiral left, Maya turned back to the window. The stars beckoned, each one a possible destination, a potential adventure. Humanity had been thrust into a larger, more dangerous universe, but they had risen to the challenge. The scrapyard where this all began now seemed a distant memory. Yet Maya knew that it was that spirit of resourcefulness, of finding value and potential in the discarded and forgotten, that had saved them all. With a deep breath, she straightened her shoulders. The war wasn't over, not by a long shot. But for the first time, the path to victory was clear. And Maya Chen was ready to lead the way into humanity's bold new future among the stars. Counterstrike. The depths of space stretched out before the Earth fleet, a vast, star-speckled canvas that held both promise and peril. At the helm of the flagship Odyssey, Maya Chen felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. The task force she led represented humanity's first major push beyond the solar system, a daring counterstrike against the swarm that had so nearly conquered Earth. "Status report," Maya called out, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Lieutenant Akira Tanaka, the ship's navigator, responded promptly. "We're approaching the coordinates extracted from the captured swarm ship, Dr. Chen. If the data is correct, we should be nearing one of their major outposts." Maya nodded, a mix of anticipation and apprehension churning in her gut. The fleet had been following the swarm's trail for weeks, jumping from system to system using the reverse-engineered alien drive technology. Each jump took them further from home, into uncharted territories, where humanity had never set foot. All ships, this is Chen, she broadcast to the fleet. Prepare for deceleration. We don't know what we're going to find here, so stay alert and stick to the plan. As the fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel, a collective gasp went up on the Odyssey's bridge. Before them lay a massive structure, a space station that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. Its biomechanical architecture pulsed with an eerie organic light. "My God," whispered Captain Amelia Vega, the Odyssey's commanding officer. "It's like a city in space." Maya's mind raced with the implications. This wasn't just an outpost. It was a hub, possibly one of the swarm's major staging areas for their galactic conquests. Tactical, what are we looking at? Lieutenant Commander Zain Mirza, hunched over his console, reported, "I'm detecting multiple ships docked at the station." Dr. Chen. "But something's off. Many of them appear to be powered down or damaged." Before Maya could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple ships detaching from the station. Mirza shouted, "They're on an intercept course." "Battle stations," Captain Vega ordered, her voice calm but edged with steel. "All ships, assume defensive formation Delta." The space around them erupted into chaos as swarm vessels swarmed towards the Earth fleet. But something was different. The alien ships moved erratically, their usually perfect coordination noticeably absent. Maya's fingers flew across her console, analyzing the data streaming in. Their attacks are uncoordinated, she realized aloud. It's like they're confused. As the battle raged, with Earth ships unleashing salvos of hybrid weaponry and swarm vessels responding with uncharacteristic desperation, Maya's mind worked overtime. There was a pattern here, something just beyond her grasp. "The station," she muttered, her eyes widening with sudden understanding. "It's not just a base. It's a node in their hive mind network." Captain Vega turned to her, eyebrow raised. "Explain, Doctor." Maya's words tumbled out in a rush of excitement. "The swarm operates on a collective consciousness, right? But it can't be instantaneous across vast distances. They must use these stations as relay points to coordinate their forces across the galaxy." Understanding dawned on the captain's face, "And we've just interrupted their connection to the main hive." Maya nodded vigorously. "Exactly. That's why they seem so disorganized. We've essentially isolated this group from the rest of the swarm." A plan began to form in Maya's mind, bold and dangerous, but potentially game-changing. "Captain, if we can capture that station intact, we might be able to tap into the swarm's entire communication network. We could find their homeworld, maybe even disrupt their entire operation across the galaxy." Captain Vega considered for a moment, then nodded sharply. "It's risky, but it might be our best shot. What do you need?" The next hours were a blur of intense action. Maya coordinated with the fleet's best engineers and tactical experts, devising a plan to board and secure the alien station. Meanwhile, the battle raged on, Earth ships using their superior mobility and the swarm's confusion to steadily gain the upper hand. Finally, a boarding team was assembled. Maya insisted on joining them, despite protests from the captain. "I understand this tech better than anyone," she argued. "If we're going to crack their systems, you need me there." As the assault shuttle approached the massive station, Maya felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. They were about to step into the heart of enemy territory, to touch the very nervous system of the force that had nearly destroyed humanity. The boarding was chaotic and intense. Swarm drones, cut off from their hive mind, fought with animalistic ferocity. But the human team, armed with hybrid weapons and sheer determination, pushed forward meter by meter. Maya found herself in what appeared to be the station's central control hub, surrounded by pulsing organic circuitry and crystalline interfaces. As security teams secured the perimeter, she approached the alien consoles with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "This is it," she breathed, her fingers hovering over the alien controls, the key to the entire swarm network. With a deep breath, Maya began to interface with the alien systems. The technology seemed to respond to her touch, almost eagerly, as if it had been waiting for a mind capable of truly understanding it. Suddenly, Maya's consciousness expanded. Information flooded her mind. Star maps, fleet movements, communication protocols. For a brief, terrifying moment, she felt as if she was touching the mind of the entire swarm. With a gasp, she pulled back, her head spinning with the influx of knowledge. I know where they are," she stammered. "The swarm's homeworld. I know how to find it." As the implications of this discovery sank in, Maya realized that humanity had just gained a critical advantage. They now had a clear target, a chance to strike at the very heart of the swarm and potentially end the war once and for all. But as she looked at the alien technology surrounding her, another realization dawned. The swarm wasn't just an enemy to be defeated. They were a source of knowledge, of advancement that could propel humanity forward by centuries. As Maya began to coordinate with the fleet, preparing to transmit their momentous findings back to Earth, she felt a sense of both triumph and trepidation. They had achieved more than they'd ever dreamed possible on this mission. But the true test, the final confrontation with the swarm, still lay ahead. The countdown to humanity's greatest challenge had begun, and Maya Chen, once a simple engineer in a forgotten scrapyard, now stood at the vanguard of a mission that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy. A new era dawns. The vastness of space seemed to hold its breath as the Earth fleet emerged from their final jump. Before them loomed a planet unlike any they had ever seen, a massive, pulsating orb that seemed more machine than celestial body. This was the heart of the swarm, the homeworld they had traveled so far to find. Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, her eyes fixed on the alien world. The knowledge she had gleaned from the captured relay station swirled in her mind, a mix of terrifying power and tantalizing possibility. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Chen's voice rang out across the fleet. "This is the moment we fought for. For Earth, for humanity, for our future among the stars." As if in response to humanity's challenge, the space around the swarm homeworld came alive. Thousands of ships rose to meet them, a living wall of biomechanical terror. The battle that followed was beyond epic. Human hybrid ships danced through space, their movements guided by both advanced AI and the intuition of their crews. Swarm vessels struck with devastating force, but for the first time, they faced an enemy that could match their technological prowess. Maya's fingers flew across her console, coordinating the fleet's movements and pushing their hybrid technology to its limits. "Concentrate fire on Sector 7, she called out. "Their formation is weakening." Hours passed in a blur of tactical displays and weapons fire. Slowly, inexorably, the Earth fleet pushed towards the planet's surface. But the cost was high. Ships on both sides fell in staggering numbers, turning the space around the swarm homeworld into a graveyard of twisted metal and broken dreams. Just when it seemed the battle might end in a stalemate, Maya's console lit up with an unexpected reading. "Admiral," she shouted, "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup on the planet's surface." Before anyone could react, a blinding beam of energy shot out from the planet, cutting through the battlefield like a scythe. Earth ships and swarm vessels alike were vaporized in its path. "My God," Admiral Chen breathed. "It's some kind of super weapon. If that thing fires again, we're finished." Maya's mind raced. The alien knowledge she had absorbed from the relay station bubbled up, providing an insane, desperate idea. "Admiral," she said, her voice tight with urgency, "I need a strike team. I think I know how to end this, but we have to move now." Minutes later, Maya found herself on a stealth shuttle plummeting towards the swarm homeworld. Around her, a team of Earth's best soldiers checked their weapons, faces grim with determination. As they broke through the planet's atmosphere, the true nature of the swarm homeworld revealed itself. The entire surface was a vast, interconnected network of organic technology. There were no cities, no distinct structures. The whole planet was one massive living computer. The shuttle landed near what Maya's alien-enhanced senses told her was a primary node of the planetary network. As they disembarked, the ground itself seemed to react to their presence, undulating and shifting. "Move fast," Maya shouted, leading the team towards a pulsating structure that rose from the living landscape. Swarm drones converged on them from all sides, but the Earth soldiers held them at bay with their hybrid weapons. Finally, they'd reached the central node. Maya placed her hands on the alien interface, feeling the thrum of unimaginable power coursing through it. Closing her eyes, she opened her mind to the swarm's network. The experience was overwhelming. Maya felt herself stretched across the vastness of space, touching every swarm ship, every drone, every tendril of their galactic empire. For a moment, she was the swarm. With every ounce of her will, Maya pushed against the alien consciousness. She felt the surprise, the confusion, the fear of the collective mind, as it encountered something it had never faced before: true individuality. In that moment of connection, Maya understood the swarm in a way no human ever had. They weren't evil, not really. They were lonely. A species that had evolved to such a degree of interconnectedness that they could no longer comprehend the concept of separate beings. Their attacks, their conquests, were misguided attempts to bring all life into their collective, to end the isolation they didn't even know they felt. With this understanding came an opportunity. Maya poured her own experiences, her human emotions and memories, into the connection. She showed the swarm what it meant to be an individual, to love, to dream, to strive against adversity. The effect was instant and staggering. Across the battlefield, swarm ships suddenly stopped fighting. On the planet's surface, drones froze in place. The entire swarm collective shuddered as it grappled with concepts it had never before imagined. Maya opened her eyes, gasping. She found herself back in her body, surrounded by her bewildered team. "It's over," she said softly. "They understand now. They want to talk." In the days that followed, an uneasy peace settled over the galaxy. The swarm, forever changed by their encounter with humanity, sought to make amends. They offered their vast knowledge and technology freely, ushering in an unprecedented era of advancement for Earth. Maya Chen, hailed as the hero who had ended the war, found herself at the forefront of a new age of exploration and discovery. Hybrid ships, now built with the full cooperation of the swarm, allowed humanity to reach the farthest corners of the galaxy. As she stood on the observation deck of Earth's first true interstellar colony ship, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a forgotten scrapyard to the brink of extinction, and now to the threshold of a limitless future. The stars stretched out before her, each one a promise of new adventures, new challenges, and new understanding. Humanity had faced its greatest trial and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had found strength in adversity, unity in diversity, and hope in the darkest of times. As the colony ship prepared for its maiden voyage, Maya smiled. The scrapyard that had once been her whole world now seemed like a distant memory. But the lessons learned there, of finding value in the discarded, of seeing potential where others saw only junk, had saved not just humanity, but an entire alien race. The future was bright, full of possibilities that no one could have imagined just a few short years ago. And Maya Chen, along with all of humanity, was ready to embrace it with open arms. As the ship's engines hummed to life, preparing to carry them into the unknown, Maya whispered to herself and to the universe at large, "The adventure is just beginning."